Check, check. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trade of 8 Friday, 24th of April. So we just had market open. And I do not have a pick on the day yet, a bias either way. We had a strong overnight push up to new highs. Thanks to on the NQ, followed by Intel. Push up on earnings. And SAP, I'm not sure what SAP is, obviously a huge company. So here's a 15-minute chart with the overnight session. So we ended the day down. So for anyone who watched yesterday, my bias was right. It just, I think I was 2 ticks or 2 points away at one point from my max loss on the day. But my discipline on that is terrible, so I had it to auto trigger. Luckily it didn't trigger. Jump back down. I think I got out here for about 200 less than a day on a bit of a pullback, entered again, and then the huge flush on news. So yesterday was a green day, and we ended the day down. This, I think, was mainly because of all-time highs on the ES and NQ without there being much cause for it when it comes to the war and where we're standing on ceasefires and negotiations. So ended down, but it did start getting brought back up. So we ended the day lower, opened higher, had a push basically back towards new highs, got rejected, but didn't come all the way back down. Wasn't quite sure what it wanted to do to itself. And then at 4:30, 7:30 New York time, had a big push up. And just checking what happened at 4:30. Interesting. Well, there's some red news at 4 that the Israel Prime Minister underwent treatment for early stage prostate tumor. Interesting that, yeah, that would but yeah, nothing at 4:30 exactly, but I think maybe that news was able to help us to push past all-time highs, had a slight rejection when we respected it, flew up. So we're coming back down now to all-time highs, just bouncing off that level again. I'm struggling to be bearish to be bullish or bearish off the bat. Obviously, if I was bullish, this would have been a great entry. But if you look at the daily, I mean, we are flying on the NQ as far as all-time highs. But the ES just does not want to do it. And that's actually what happened yesterday, when we were kind of right there and right at my max loss, a couple ticks away from my max loss on the day. It was this ES not wanting to get higher that I think really got us back down. So just sitting on my hands. Also, just to say, Fridays are, anyone who trades knows, tough days. Not, yes, I will personally say I think the market does behave differently on Friday. I think there's many reasons for it. Arguably, swing traders taking their profit, or people who are kind of just more invested long term, just making decisions that they wouldn't have made in the middle of the week. Also, I think it's just Friday. But, people, no one wants to go into the weekend on a loss. But I think that actually be fascinating to know statistically that happens more than not. But I've had Fridays that have been by far my worst days. I blew a 50k eval account 2 weeks ago on a Friday close, just because I didn't want to go into the weekend with a loss. Then had to be a huge loss. So discipline on Friday needs to be incredibly high. So looking on the 1 hour here, we did respect this high, this retest of the high. But the ES is selling off pretty clearly. On a 5-minute, the ES is bouncing off of the 200 EMA, which is often a lot of people say that if it's above the 200 EMA bullish, below the 200 EMA bearish, obviously hugely generalized, but so I'm finding it hard to pick a bias on either day, for either way on the day. And honestly, I don't know if I'll have one today. We'd really have to. I think if the ES drops below here and keeps going down, I might get in short. Shorting all-time highs is kind of foolish, but we did. I think if we hold this line on the NQ, I think shorts are in play. So this channel is all about learning and building and getting the process correct. And I think something I've learned and built is that my trading style doesn't go with smaller account sizes. I knew that going into it, but I thought I could kind of tailor it to that. I can, but on very specific days. So that's something I'm really working on, is to have kind of no trade days on my Apex account when it doesn't feel right. So for example, this would be a nice short opportunity with a kind of a stop above here, but okay, I'm gonna take a stab at one. I think we missed that one, yeah. Break even. Point of control. So I just saw that we were kind of rejecting off the VWAP here. Didn't think we had the momentum to go up here. Bring this into profit. Oh. You go. We get quite a lot of lag. For those who don't know, I trade. Ah, shit. That was supposed to be a buy, but I sold anyway. For those who don't know, I focus on base hits on this account, big style base hits. So $50 trade for me is a good one. Obviously, see it continue here, but within the first 45 minutes, I really, really don't like holding trades past a candle's closure. Could have followed this down a bit cleaner. And I think it's given me enough of it. I'm going to take a stab on a short here. I think if we bounce off VWAP and rip up, I'll scale in, but I don't know how aggressively. If we can break below the 15-minute orb, just hold it for 15 more seconds and then break through. I always find it funny. So, ES, how does it behave? How does it interact with how the NQ is behaving, vice versa? I always find it funny when big stock news in tech, how that affects the ES, because obviously led to big swing to all-time highs. However, didn't register the same in NQ, so in ES, apologies. So I think something I've found as well is this style usually works best when it's very aggressive between now and 7 o'clock. So I think this is how I would have been trading these last few weeks, is a bit more conservatively. But honestly, the most profit I've made has been when I wasn't conservative in these first 15 minutes. So, for example, that would have been a nice entry. If the trouble is if it does kind of reject and go for another all-time high, sizing in so aggressively down here does mean that my average entry is so much lower, but you're either right or you're wrong. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on the NQ that's, especially on the 1 hour, that makes the short feel a bit aggressive, but on the ES feels like we're primed for one. Honestly, what I'm quite hopeful of here is that we go bounce, and honestly, if we have a flush down, I'm going to get out and then kind of wait. This kind of holding up here isn't ideal. I'm not saying we won't break through, but I don't think it could not happen quickly. It's an incredibly tight range. Yeah, like an 80-point range. So far. Do I want to take another stab at this? Probably not. If it's holding up here and rejecting off. So, got University Michigan. Excuse me. Sentiment coming out at 7, and that's about it. As far as category red news, have inflation rate, 5% inflation rate, 1% inflation rate from the University of Michigan as well. Yellow news, for anybody who's wondering, it's talking about financial juice. The news on the left of upcoming events, and then as news comes in that could affect the market, and red, usually stuff that will have a strong reaction. I'll even show you the reaction it had after the fact. Okay, so sizing in. Not my favorite. Yeah, it'd be nice to pick that up. Yeah, I could be kind of picked a bias here just to pick a bias. Obviously trading a bit more aggressively because it's just a demo account, warming up for my Apex account that's going to begin beginning of next month to 250k ones. I'm going to trade them both as aggressively as this just for the first month to see if I pass one of those evaluations, and then I'll scale down. I'm actually going to be away next week and potentially all of the week after. So obviously 8 contracts is pretty aggressive. for me, for some that's nothing on the MNQ, but I'm seeing this as 4 times. So to me, this is 2 contracts. So 2 micros right now doesn't feel crazy. Obviously, if we bounce here and bounce here, sorry, and then go higher, not ideal, but I just asked myself, if I'd have entered 2 contracts here, would you have felt good about it? And right now I do. I don't know if I'd have felt too good about it bouncing below VWAP and over market 50-minute orb, so if it comes down there, I'll get out and reassess. This is a very slow day, obviously. Would have been very nice to have collected another entry, missed it by a point or so. Yes, it's struggling to break below, struggling to show true signs of bearish behavior. NQ doing the same, especially after being near all-time highs. But you just look at that wick. It's funny, it's depending on the conversation you're having and what bias you've got. People say wicks want to be run, and other people are just so kind of show you, hey, but you know, in this context, it's either signs that people wanted to buy or signs that people want to sell. And if they wanted to buy, they could buy again. But if they sold, they're interested in selling. So it's tough. Anyway, got out on that first 600. If we close this 5-minute candle below VWAP, I'll get in again. So we got another 40 seconds on that. Get sizing in a point of control. Previous. Yeah. I would quite like to scale quite heavily into this, but I do think that we're going to come across a bit of resistance here, so I could see a bit of a bounce up. I do think the overall bias of being... We basically had our coming into the 7 o'clock reversal, the 7 o'clock rejection kind of area where tried to go higher, tried to get to the magic we had before. People weren't having it, so now we're selling off. I'm going to be a lot more cautious than I usually am, kind of taking these base hits as they come at these key resistance levels. The 200 EMA has been that spot all week, mainly on the 15 though, so we do still have quite a bit of room down here. But honestly, I just don't think I could hold a bias for too long on either side right now. So I think that's something that hit me yesterday. Is got out at a good price, and then my bias needed to kind of flip in the short term, which I knew, but I thought that kind of scaling into position would have been a bit more less intense. Missed it by a point or a couple ticks. I'm gonna bring this down to value area low, value area high. Get up here. Yeah, and why did it get right there and not hit it? Well, who's looking at what on what? Potentially the EMA, 14-minute EMA on the 1 hour. Definitely not this 50 and the 15. It's okay. I still think sellers show a bit of presence here. We haven't had any. Oh, sorry. They stepped in significantly here. Buyers are coming in, but not to an aggressive level just yet. So size scaled in there. I think if we get down to like here, I'll follow it down. What do we got here? So point of control. Above view up. Point of control retest could be something. The sellers are still here. Buyers haven't stepped in. Obviously, we're moving up, but news came out. It doesn't seem crazy, or at least had a crazy effect. Didn't come close. I mean, there's a kind of key level right here that it bounced off, so it makes sense. Where are we at on this one? Take this off for now. I think if we come back up, we have the potential to blast through, so I'll take that off for now. Not sure what I've got on there, actually. So we would have actually got that entry on this other one. But feeling like we're going to have a bit of a pullback reversal into maybe a push higher. It's just not respecting lower lows, but who knows? Very undecided day. Anyone who can say they can clearly see what's going to happen here, have to have a chat with them, but choppy price action right now. To me, it's, I'm not a trendline trader, but we're just moving down, having lower highs, lower lows. That trade would have played out fine. Not much conviction behind it, but so it's still chopping and changing. I think the reality is that today is a good candidate for either a no trade day or scalp only day. I think I'm going to play it safe on this. Oh, too late. Got a minute left on this candle. Let it figure out. Oh no, we don't. We have 10 seconds left. Sorry. Let it figure out what it wants to do. So you got a doji on the 1 hour right now. Doesn't know what it wants to do just yet. After 2 red candles. Don't usually follow Intel because it's basically just have Magnificent 7 and futures on here, but let me just looking at a different screen. Wow. It's up 22% on the day, which is crazy, but it is since open been kind of in a bit of a sell-off. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I don't think it's got that huge of an impact on the day, but I do think it's funny how much we're mirroring its kind of movements right now. I mean, 22 on such a prominent stock is amazing. and it is having a bit of a push up. Let's see, do I want to be aggressive and scale into it even more? Got one right here. I think I do. I think I'm going to get aggressive. It's Friday, it's a demo account. It's kind of test a concept. I think if we fly through, we fly through. I like to be done by 8 if possible. I think today the only way to make that happen is to be a bit more aggressive. But caution, because it'll be very slow. You put your trades in aggressively, and then this kind of area of consolidation will explode the opposite direction. So and the longer you're in the market, the more likely some news or tweet is going to come out. It's going to completely change things. So just have my orders in now, just sitting on my hands. One of the best pieces of advice I've heard is that trading's supposed to be boring. You don't want your heart rate to increase. You don't want your breath. Excuse me, you don't want shortness of breath. You don't want to be clenched your body. And that was me forever, and it still can be me. So I'll learn to take the pressure off, take a bit of the care away. Easier said than done. All right, so definitely getting a bit of a push up. Get valley area low. Don't really have much conviction and too much follow through. Looking at this, do you think we could bounce off the view up? Missed it by a few points. So again, dividing everything by 4, about $200 in drawdown. It's not a bad spot for me. I think going in a Friday with this Hamas tensions, I don't know many people are going to want to be holding positions over the weekend, but So yeah, sorry, bit of a push up. Rejected these. Try to get out of the 50-minute orb. This key value right here. So I think it's going to make another attempt. Interesting to see if it makes it or not. Oh, okay. So yep, doesn't want to go down. I don't. Yeah, be interesting to see what happens. I think we've. Yeah, I don't like shorting all-time highs, but I think being closer to VWAP within the first hour, when it had gone so far away that it just didn't. So I still think we have the potential for a bounce back down sooner rather than later. If we come up and collect a couple of these trades, okay. I think if we fly past it, okay, I was wrong. Bias was wrong on the day. And that's fine. That's what we're learning here. That's what we're processing. I hate being the wrong side of VWAP. Wow. Doji on the 15 on the ES. Okay, so red letter, red news comes out. Fed swaps price more easing by end of year after report. Drop criminal probe of Fed Chair Powell as soon as Friday. Okay, didn't seem to have a crazy response. I think right now, unless the news is about the war. So not able to break these highs. Oh, sorry, break this key area that we touched on before. Market open. Having a sell-off at the moment. And this 5-minute candle. Bouncing off point of control. If we get some follow through, I'll get out. I think we're very choppy today. Not really got any conviction either direction. I don't love my average entry being right here. We can need to break through both, but I think if we get down here, we have the momentum to bounce around and then do that. So I'm gonna have this ready to go if we suddenly get a flush, but I think we'll be here a while. All right, here we go. Bit of a sell-off, going past point of control. Got out there, just not really trusting it today. wait for a bit of a pullback before I enter again. Go on point of control. This kind of key value area is a good, nice one. I mean, I basically just re-entered where I got out, but for a much smaller size to kind of weather a bit of a intense pullback. So this is much more conservative approach. Got about nearly 1,000 on the day. I think if this was a live account, I would call it here, but I think it's still only 7:30, got half an hour. I just had this big sell-off. I could see it kind of being a pretty significant one. Obviously, this pressure down, holding the VWAP could lead to a bit higher bounce up. But, didn't really sweep liquidity under VWAP either, so we'll see what happens here. It didn't seem to come from any news catalyst, just constantly not being able to break key level on either the NQ or the ES. It'd be interesting to know whether pullback point of control on the 1 minute. I'm going to take a base hit with a re-entry at point of control flip. Sorry, not flip, just point of control retest. I do have another limit at the 200 EMA. I don't see us just falling off a cliff here, so proceed with caution. So sorry, very, very choppy. Got 25 minutes left on what I'd ideally like to do. So we're just chopping about. I mean, this is honestly kind of, I hate to say it, often my bread and butter of just kind of scaling and getting out on these kind of clear ranges. But it's a Friday. It's just literally been like one tweet or one headline away from complete shift on the day. We got higher highs being matched here and lower lows not being kind of, it's just all over. So I'd like to get the 2000 goal. I think we've got 20 minutes left on it. I might call it today. I mean, if you just look at this range, it's open, this wick's a bit of an outlier, but from 60 here, I mean, just over 100-point range in over an hour trading. So, what's the anecdote? Well, size more aggressively, and then you get an explosion in the opposite direction, and all your entries are down here. I think people are kind of getting a bit of fatigue as well. You're seeing this big buying pressure. I think if we don't reject off this time, I could see us going higher again. Broke above VWAP for the first time on the ES. These are above VWAP, but above this area. We can get above 15-minute orb on ES, that'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll admit, a bit distracted today, a bit bored. Trading's meant to be boring. So ES has broken kind of little consolidation area it was in, coming up to the 15-minute order break. If we can reject back down off of this, looking good to get out bottom of this range. If we can't and we break through, then probably call it for the day. Break even if we're lucky. As I was saying, I think on a live account this would have been a no trade day for me, or at least probably wouldn't have re-entered after the first winning trade. Divide everything by 4, it's 250 drawdown here, so really not scratching the surface as far as potential drawdown, but it's just not really. There's this one area right here, and if we don't hit that, this is the next kind of big area of resistance for me. So we'll see. Might call it here soon. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it. It's Friday. I'm going to put my sorry. Yes, I'm going to call it there. I've got 2 more entries here. I think if we get out here, call that a win on the day. I think if we do reverse, scale in, maybe get one more 400. And then other than that, I'm just going to sit on my hands, let the trade play out. So thanks everybody. Very choppy conditions today. So be smart, be patient. If a no trade day makes sense for you, better than a loss. So thanks everybody.